Hello there and welcome back to my channel. Okay, so today I'm going to be going over Scream 4 and I'm revisiting it because this is the last installment of the so far theatrical movies until the next one called Scream, which is Scream 5, being released on January 14th, 2022, which is exactly 31 days away from the day that I'm recording this. Scream 4 is one of my absolute favorite films, and it comes 11 years after the original trilogy from the 90s, and it brings back the original three survivors, Sidney, Dewey, and Gale, and it is directed by Wes Craven and written by Kevin Williamson. This is my perfect idea for a Scream movie. I was so happy for it whenever it was coming around. I anticipated this movie so much of my life. And I cannot even believe how beautiful Sidney is and that they got Emma Roberts to be part of the cast. It was scary, it was bloody, and it finished strong. Wes Craven sadly passed, and this was the last film that he ever made, and I think that it was beautiful, and what a great way to go out. With all of that being said, let's get into Wes Craven's Scream 4. The fact that this movie is even called Scream 4 is amazing to me. I always thought that they were going to do a reboot or kind of a thing like they're doing now with the fifth one. And I can't even believe that. They made so many jokes about Scream 4 this and Scream 4 that, and it was parodied so many times for the past whatever, how many years. And I love that they called it this title. Right off the bat, I remember seeing this in theaters opening day with my grandpa, a man I love so much, and he sat there right next to me, and we watched this opening of all of the different Stab movies, and that completely blew my mind. It was the perfect way to kick off this film. Ever since the second one, we've talked about Stab. And then the third one, Cotton Weary is coming home from being on set of Stab and arguing about it, and then he's getting killed with his girlfriend. And the opening of this being a Stab meta thing was so perfect. I loved the girls on the couch. I loved the girl in the beginning, Lucy Hale. Was just such a perfect thing for me, and we cut to finally the girls in Woodsboro sitting alone on some dark night watching scary movies, and they get attacked by Ghostface. I remember screaming my face out whenever this was in the theaters. It was so picturesque. I love the blue lighting and the way that he chases her up the stairs. Everything about this opening scene is perfect. It's definitely like my favorite from the franchise. Even though I think that the original opening is like the strongest, this is my personal favorite taste because of my acquaintance with this franchise. To me, this is very much a fan service or not even that, a love letter film to the original trilogy. And the fact that it was written by Kevin Williamson, who did the first two, it really means a lot for me because a lot of his ideas for the third one got recycled for this, and I just think that that's great. 11 years later after that opening, I love this shot of Sidney, and we see her coming into Woodsboro 15 years after the first event. This is the first time that we've ever been here since the first movie, not in 2 and not in 3. So I love the fact that this is an anniversary movie. 15 years after the original events and 16 years from Maureen Prescott's murder. It's chilling and it's scary to the bone. I love the fact that there is an idea of Sidney being a author now of a self-help book. She's already been in the public, she's already famous, and she has kind of rejected her victimhood and all of this kind of stuff, so might as well turn it around for the positive. And she shares her message of resilience, and that really meant a lot to me growing up. I just love everything about her, even down to her bangs and the way she looks and the way she dresses. There was nothing you could do in this film that I wouldn't love, and it happened to have been that everything was perfect. Meeting up with Dewey and Gale is just as great, seeing them married, especially after the 10-year or 11-year gap from the third movie. That was everything I'd ever wanted to be. I knew that that was going to work out for them, at least for a good set of time. And 10 years is not nothing. A decade is very special to spend your life with someone, and they deserve some sort of credit for that. There's a certain way that these movies open up, and I love that they're establishing Emma Roberts' character. It's great, I love her, and there's all of these new characters. I'm glad that they spend time with them. But every single Scream movie has opened up with the opening kill, and then we visit Sidney immediately after the title card. So, Casey Becker, Sidney on her computer lab. The people in the theater, and then she's in her bed in college. Cotton Weary gets killed, and she's walking her dog in California. this movie happens, the opening kills, and she's arriving to town for her book signing. And I'm really hoping in this fifth one, after they do the opening scene, that we check right in right away with Sidney. Even if she doesn't have a big part in this movie, I don't want to wait until the last half to see her. Show me her living in her perfect life before she even knows that something's wrong. And then let me be comforted for that, and let me be scared for another 45 minutes about these characters. Let me just go on for that. And then bring her back into it. That's the best way you can do it. I went to film school. That is good writing. That's everything that I paid to learn. They are not shy about phone calls in this movie. I think that it's amazing. There's already so many in the opening scene, and then Sidney hearing the things that she does on the phone, especially after we get this Olivia Morris attack. It's bloody, it's gruesome, it's one of the most horrific deaths we've ever seen in Scream, and in this movie, I sometimes cry. I'm a very emotional person, and I love that side of myself. It's what makes me a great person, and it also is what makes me a great film watcher and a filmmaker and an actor, because I'm able to tap into human emotion, and that's the one way, the universal way to work around the world and get to people. And I love when a medium or a platform or something can get to me, whether it's a book or a podcast or a joke or a story, someone sharing their feelings, a movie. I like to be in my feels, and there's a part of this that's like, murder is really very scary, you know, and Sidney is dealing with that. I love how they play with the concept of, oh, you think you're still a star, and she's like, I never chose any of this. And she battles her whole way through this series of events, trying to figure out the best way to protect herself and her family, but she is the different person than she's ever been in the other three, because there's this sureness about her, this almost refusal to put up with bullshit. She's like, I am not fucking doing this, and she charges at Ghostface several times in this, and she's done that a couple times in the original franchise, but not like this before. This made her the fighter that I always knew she would be. She grew up to be such an amazing woman, and I'm so proud of this installment for showing me that of her. I love the whole Gail going rogue storyline. I think that she's always had a great character plot. I've really enjoyed her in every single one of these films, and her arc makes sense to me. It really wraps around to the first one, which is perfect, and I really love how we kind of get that like sleuthy, like hardcore, gutsy Gail, but she's not as, you know, mean or savage, but she is ruthless, and I love that about her because now we're entwined with her story, and it's perfect. This one to me does the next step in story world building for Woodsboro. I love seeing the driving in the town and the town square, and just the book signing place, and the attacks at night, and now we're at the hospital. I love seeing the hospital. That was such a fun place for me, along with the police station earlier in the film, because Sidney was there in the first one, and it looks so similar and very updated and evolved exactly like how a town would be. Having Sidney's publicist getting killed at the hospital was iconic for me. I mean, this movie, like I said, takes the deaths to an all extreme, and people like to say, oh, stab this and stab there, but I mean, he really does get creative with the kills, I think, you know, throwing someone through a window, and, you know, throwing someone off of a garage, putting someone in a bed and gutting them, you know, like, it's really, really gruesome, and I love this one for that. Having Sidney back at Woodsboro High is such a fun concept to me, and a lot of people I don't really feel like they get this. Maybe it's too modern looking for them, or they don't understand what they're doing with that, but like, when you think about Sidney being back in that high school, like, that's crazy. And so that was mind-blowing for me when I saw this in the theater. It was everything, watching her sit in that classroom again and talk about movies and trying to figure out what's going on and like bounce ideas off of people. That was like, you know, such a fan service moment for me. At 13 years old, I couldn't imagine having another movie do what this one did. The thrill ride, the anticipation, the excitement, everything was perfect to me. Leading into the Stabathon, which is absolutely perfect. I keep saying that. I'd always wanted to have a party like this, and I'm sure lots of other people did, and it was such a fun set to see. I always really love this part of the movie. It feels great. We finally get to see stab footage again. It puts Courtney Cox in danger, and that's one of the best setups. She is such a reporter in this one. She's trying to get back on her game, and it puts her in danger, and I love that. There's intense moments that are so great in this franchise, and I feel like the last time that she was really in this sort of a peril was in part 2, when she was being chased through the little sounding booth. having her injured was so scary for me. I really thought they were going to kill her off back then. You know, she's part of Friends. She's got all that residual money. She really doesn't have to do anything. She's Courtney Cox, you know? Like, I thought she was done. And we get to the fact that it's a fake out party. And I love that. They were like, the party is the false ending, new rules. And I wish that I would have caught on to the concept of whenever they were saying that, they set that up to believe what the characters in the movie were supposed to believe about the Stabathon being the party. But he was like, the party is a false ending, new rules. They literally told us the movie as it was gonna happen, and we didn't even see it, or I didn't at least, where this party that they're at currently at Kirby's house is the false ending. Hence what takes place at Woodsboro Hospital later. I just thought it was so brilliant, and I want to applaud everyone for working on this and putting their A game, because I really feel like it was everything that I ever wanted and needed. And I don't care how many people don't like it. It's a movie tailored for me. It was an absolute dream, and I'll never not enjoy this movie. The final party is such a fun time, and we get that killer reveal where it is Charlie and Jill. I was mortified, sick to my stomach. And when I tell you, not that I didn't enjoy the first time that I watched this, I did, but it upset me so bad because I felt so betrayed. I was so in love with her, and I never thought that she was capable of that. And maybe some people saw it coming, and that's great for you, but you'll never take away from me what this movie meant and what I thought going into it and how betrayed I was by her. I was just as mortified as Sidney was, and I love the fact that Emma Roberts played this scene so well. She's one of my favorite parts of this movie, and the scenes that she has with Neve Campbell are absolutely stunning and brilliant. She's such a great actress, and I live for her work. The way that she pulls off this killer reveal is absolutely phenomenal to me, and her reveal and her monologue is one of the best and the strongest. She is my favorite killer, and I absolutely love everything that she does. She takes it a step further, and we've never even seen a scene like this in this franchise. No one has ever gotten this far, and I swear to God, when they stabbed Sidney so many times and she was on the floor, I thought for sure she was going to get up. And when she never did, I was worried. I was like, damn it, man. I was in tears. I was 13. That's barely 10, you know? People aren't really coherent until they're 3 or 4 or 5, and then, you know, that only remember those years, and then 6 and 7 you start to have recollection of what's going on. So at 13, that was my whole world. That was everything. I was crushed. I was fucking crushed. Mortified, like I said, I've said so many times. And I thought Jill was gonna get away with it, and I was absolutely stunned. I remember my grandpa being like, you know, she's clever at pulling all that shit off, and he goes, but I don't think she'll get away with it. And we have that ending where we're at the hospital, and it's my absolute favorite. It's my favorite part of this movie. It makes it so much better. There's an original draft where this part doesn't happen, and I know a lot of people are like, oh, studio interference and this and that and the other, but I hate to say it. No, I don't even hate to say it. I'm glad they got involved. This movie was perfect for me. It was tailored for me. There is a God, there is a universe, there is a higher power, whatever you want to name it, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to believe in. Obviously it exists because it gave me the movie that I had been asking for my entire life, and it tailored every scene to my want and every frame to my need and every character, actor, choice, frame, prop. I think I said frame already. Oops. The point is that obviously I'm living a blessed life, because for me this was just everything that I'd ever wanted and needed, and this is a perfect movie for me. And when Sidney prevails at the end, I knew it. And Judy was such a great character throughout the film. I've been talking a lot and I never even mentioned her. I'm so happy she's going to be in this next one. She was always a great character, and I never suspected her for a second. If she's involved in this new one, I'll be pretty hurt, I'm not going to lie. And I love the showdown between Jill and Sidney twice. They do it twice. That is something that has never happened in this franchise before. You know, they did the kitchen in the first one, the stage in the second, and the mansion in the third. They did the house in the fourth one and the hospital. She showed down with Jill twice, bro. Like, what the fuck more could you ask for? You know, 3 openings, 3 endings. It's great, you know. You think it's a Stabathon, you think it's the party, and then it's the hospital. What more could you ask for? And then everyone survives, and it ends on the eerie note. And all of it was perfect for me. Well, that was my review of Scream 4. It's so phenomenal to be able to review this franchise, and it's one of my favorite movies. I had such a great time going over it again. I hope you enjoyed my thoughts, and be sure to leave down in the comments below what you think of it. Let me know what parts work for you, what parts don't, how you felt about the original trilogy and this edition, but remember to be as kind as possible, especially if you watched how enthused I am about it. I wouldn't trade this franchise for the world, and I'm so excited for this new 5th one. We are exactly 31 days away from it from the date that I'm recording this, and this is that golden hour. That TV spot everywhere, that trailers here, that featurette here, the promos, the posters. It's beautiful, and it only happens for a certain amount of days, and I'm living in it, and I am taking in the moment, and I am living in awe, and I encourage everyone else to as well. And of course, we all want to avoid spoilers, but don't sour the moment for yourself. Don't turn away and turn a blind eye just because you're going to be too protective. I get that, we all want to monitor our social medias, but also be sure to have excitement about it. Just let your inner kid scream about Scream, and let me know the things that you're wanting in Scream 5. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to check out some of my other videos. I've done a bunch of different genres and reviews, and even location visits and stuff. So I'll have links to that, and thank you so much for watching, and be sure to check back for whenever I post something new. Alright, see you next time. Bye.